and welcome to this episode of Attitude. I'm Mary Arnott, your host and producer. On this show, I will be speaking with two of Hopkinton's seniors regarding how to be older and bolder. As we age and when we are in our senior years of life, many people have a tendency to resign to being inactive and more reclusive than when they were younger. My special guests and I will discuss how life in your senior years can continue to be rewarding and fulfilling. Even if you are in your younger years, you can pass along what you learn on this show. So whether you are young or a senior, get ready for some lessons on how to be bolder as you get older with my guests Carol Walsh and Pat Barata as they share their positive attitude with us. Welcome, Carol. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you,
Nice to
Mary.
be here, Mary.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. It's one I've been wanting to do for a while. I was reading a book not too long ago about people who lived to be 100 and some of the lessons that they had about, living a long and healthy life. But I wanted to talk to the two of you because you were recommended as being very positive on life and having lots of examples of how you stay involved and the things that you like to do. And so I'm hoping we can pass along some good lessons to people who may watch the show, whether they are young or old. Mm-hmm. So did anybody want to get started with an example of how do you stay positive about life as you are in your senior years now?
Well, I'm always impressed when I hear Pat talk about his regimen of keeping healthy. I think that's extremely important, and I applaud him because I'm not terribly disciplined that way. I'm getting better.
I definitely, I'm a Weight Watcher, been a Weight Watcher for like 12 years now. So it teaches you how, it's not a diet, it teaches you a way of life, how to eat healthy, and part of the Weight Watcher program is exercise. So I go to the gym practically every day, and that's one aspect of my life where I've gotten to meet new people. You meet a lot of different people I belong to the Y up in Shrewsbury, so you meet a lot of different people, different ages. And they also have, for activity, for seniors, they have something called Silver Sneakers, which is specifically geared for seniors, depending on what level you can do for exercise. We're both very involved in the senior center, which I don't know what really my wife or myself would do without the senior center. I just love it.
There is endless possibilities there.
Well, go ahead.
You talk about trying to do different things. When I originally retired, I didn't play golf, I didn't play tennis, I was wondering what I was going to do. So originally I became a couch potato. That's why I gained all the weight and ended up going to Weight Watchers. Then I started exercising, and then one of the things I wanted to do when I retire was volunteer. I said I wanted to give back. So I got very involved home in the church, where they used to run bingos and bazaars and things like that, volunteering there. I also volunteer for AARP and their driver safety program, which is specifically geared for seniors. And when we came to Hopkinton, you got involved in the senior center. And you got very involved in the library from your background.
I did, having been the town librarian. I was asked even before I retired if when I retired would I set up the library for the senior center. So that was a start there and maintaining it. And it just kept growing. Then I was a receptionist, and then we were on the council, and and then you're involved with chair volleyball and then exercising. And as I said, I'm not a very disciplined person exercise-wise. I'm always busy, but that's not the same as exercising, really. So I got into their exercise on Monday mornings, and it's strength and stretching and balance, things that are very important as you get older, more so even than when you were younger. And then I started Tai Chi this year, which is karate in slow motion, which I love. It's a grounding, the here and the now. You kind of let everything go. And I used to hear people say that and thought, I'm not sure I could do that. You do. You let everything go, and for the moment you're there, concentrating on yourself and the now. And it's wonderful, wonderful. So I love those. They've been very positive, but everything I do at the senior center, I do because I want to. And there are so many possibilities, something for everybody, there truly is. for those that can't get around awfully well on their own, so they have wonderful day trips twice a week. I mean, for people who can get around also, but it's also good for people who don't drive or get to do many things other than that. Those day trips are wonderful.
They also have wheelchair accessible vehicles. So,
They do.
You know, nothing can really hold you back, even if you're in a wheelchair or a cane or crutches, whatever.
And we recently had a program on humor. Humor, I love humor. I love laughing. It's good for everybody. And things strike me funny that I know is funny, apparently, I've been told. But anyway, humor is wonderful. And there's going to be another program on Friday about birds of New England. A list of people have signed up for that. Those are programs, so you can take part in programs. You can learn new things. We do have crafts and a chorus. They play cards.
Well, I've heard so many things already, so many good ideas and stuff that I want to really go back and just capture and highlight a few of them, because as you were going through all these things, I'm doing a little mental checklist in my head saying, what a great idea, what a great idea, what a great idea. The important thing, I mean, Pat, you started off by saying that when you retired, you know, you got a little bit lazy, a little bit more, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. What pulled you out of that? I mean, how did you decide that, hey, wait a minute, I want to get back into life and really enjoy it every day? Because I think that, you know, does happen a lot, that especially when people in their even more senior years, as they have less ability, might feel like, okay, you know, what am I going to do? I can't even get around very much.
Well, I retired at the Millennium in December of '99, and Helen, my wife, was still working. So I was home a long time alone. That's why I basically became a couch potato. Then when she retired, we decided we would become more active. We both started exercising, we both started going to Weight Watchers, we both got involved in the church and did various different volunteering together and separately. The thing that amazed me the most is when we moved up here and I got involved in the senior center and I became a server, and I never thought I could ever, I mean, I can go out and get a job as a paying waiter. I think I'm pretty good.
You are.
And it's amazing how you just say to yourself, I'm going to do this, I want to do this, and I enjoy doing it, and it seems like it just came natural. I just totally enjoy serving. If I could serve there every day, I would, but I have to do other things. But there are so many different things you can get involved in. I also got involved, we live in a community that's a townhouse complex. So I volunteered for the condo board. I volunteered for the landscaping committee. Helen says I can't volunteer anymore. If I'm going to do any more work, it's got to be to go out and get a paying job. And then I also, another thing that keeps us stimulated and interesting is we joined a book club at the, they have a book club at the senior center, but we belong to the book club at the condo association. Read a book every month, and then we discuss it, so it keeps your mind active. You're constantly reading, and you're learning new things. We read biographies, we read about Cleopatra, we read about all these different things. So that's another thing you can get involved in. And
Definitely.
They have one, I believe they have one at the library.
Yeah, I just did a show not too long ago on book clubs.
There you go.
Yes.
And
It's an excellent way to get, we met some wonderful new people that we didn't know at from the complex. And in fact, we're the oldest, we're the seniors. They're all age groups there, so that's another way to get out and meet people.
Yes, trying new things.
Yeah, you made that point, Carol, that you tried Tai Chi recently.
Yes, and trying new things is a wonderful thing. Along with the reading, I just wanted to bring in a couple of years ago, for 2.5 years, I used to read to a woman in a nursing home. Started out just, you know, maybe just to do it and see if she enjoyed it. She can't read, she couldn't read, so she had books on tape, which I used to bring over to her. But she liked the conversation of discussing the book, discussing what you were reading. So we got into that. I enjoyed that as much as she did. And, you know, sometimes that's out of the blue. I never anticipated doing that. Someone suggested it to me. And I thought, I can do that. one thing I found when I retired, I thought, oh, this is great. You don't have to get up and I can hang out in my jammies and all this and that.
I do that occasionally.
And once in a while, it's nice. But on a regular basis, it's not.
No, it's not help. Yeah.
It seemed like I was on vacation for a little while, and that was fine. And then I thought, okay, time to do something. And up and out. I like to get up in the morning and get out. That's what I do. And then I'm busy all day long. And the jammies can come on later in the day when I'm in for the night or something. But I do find there are so many things that I kind of thought, someday maybe I'd like to do that. And you find, then do it. Now you've got your life now, do it. These are within reason. You know, you can't do everything maybe, but try some new things. Even if you try it and don't like it, try it. You don't lose a thing by trying it. They have adult education courses. We have programs sometimes up at the senior center that you can get involved in, and that can just be a road into something else that you might want to do.
You can get involved also to keep active too in various different committees within the town.
Yes.
I was recently, the board was asked for, they're doing a criteria working group on the center school. That whole
Right.
phase of do they want to build, do they not want to build, etc. And they have 15 people on the committee, and they wanted a member from the senior center. So I was I wouldn't say rope breaker. I am involved in it, so that's another thing.
He's a
So
good
that
one. Good
that's
one for
where I'm getting to meet entirely different background people, young, mostly young, and educators, the assistant superintendents. So I'm finding that very interesting too. That's something I never thought I would do. Never.
Yeah, I like the idea of seniors getting involved too at different committees, you know, or running for office in the town, because so many decisions are made that will affect them, and oftentimes we don't have enough representation of cities
Exactly.
within
And
the
we do
town.
discuss that as council members, you know, being involved, promoting things for the seniors. We need to be the spokesperson. I just went to the student government breakfast up at the high school as a council on aging person, and just listening to the young people talk, and they're very they were very polite. And we talked about the senior center, David Hawley, who was another council member, and myself, getting out into the community in that way. And we invited them to come up and see the senior center. And two of the boys are coming up tomorrow.
Oh, great, great.
So that's where we can also help. The blending of the seniors and young people is always a good thing.
Oh, yes.
And of course, as we all know, they will one day be be the seniors. So the more they understand about us and do things with us, I think is extremely
There's quite a few young people who do volunteer at the senior center.
Yes. Yes. And they like it. And in general, they seem to be very enthusiastic about it, and they like it. And we
Another
like
way
them.
to stay active too is if you don't have to be that technical. Once again, I know we keep on saying the senior center, but they do offer computer classes, and that's a good way to stay in touch if you have family
Yes.
that are far away. We're originally from New York, so all of our family is in
all
New
up there,
York,
yeah.
except for our son, daughter-in-law, and grandkids that are up here. So we stay in touch with family, of course, by phone, but also by computer. And then I think family is very important to to stay connected with them,
It is.
because it gives you a sense of belonging.
Yes. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, but many people don't have, many seniors may not have family in the area, like you say. They need ways to stay in touch. But also, too, you can define family in so many, in a broader scope
Exactly.
nowadays. If you don't have a spouse, or if you don't have immediate family in the area, you can get involved at the senior center,
Yes,
at your place
yes.
of worship, involved with the town, and kind of redefine what family is, but have people who are close to you. And
Absolutely.
that you'll feel like, you'll want to get out and be involved
Right,
in things.
right.
But you also mentioned that sometimes your, physical ability isn't quite as what it used to be. and you may have trouble getting around, but if you need help, you can get help.
You can get help, yes.
And if you are more homebound, I know seniors sometimes, I have a mother who's going to be 90, she doesn't want to learn how to do the computer. But if you're willing to learn something new, then and you can learn how to use a computer, it opens up so much more to you.
Yes.
You-
It does really. But you speak about people who can't get out and get around, and it's true. If you can get out and get around, visit them. Walk their dog. Take them shopping, or do the errands for them. There are ways like that some people don't want to get involved in activities per se, but they do want to do something. There are so many things, little things like that you can do. And helping others is a wonderful feeling.
Yes, you're not only helping the person, but you're getting something out of it, like
Yes,
when you
you
were
are.
reading to that woman who was
Yes.
in the nursing home.
And there are people
Yeah.
who need that, or just even visit once in a while. Just visit with them if they're people who can't get out.
I know in New York they did, and I think up here, I think the church might have it. They have people who visit shut-ins to visit them once a
Yes.
week and
Yes.
to keep them company or to see if they need anything like
Yes.
that.
Oh, I know through the senior center and through the church that I belong to, St. Paul's, we do
Yes.
that. So
Yeah,
Right.
we do that, yeah.
yeah.
The senior
Go-
center could also do
Go and
the
play
medical.
cards with them.
Yes.
Right.
And if you are
Watch a
a
program.
shut-in or homebound, pick up the phone,
Yes.
and call the senior
Yes.
center. How can I get involved? How can I get some help with this? I mean, I know you bring the senior center up a lot, but it is a wonderful
a
place
perfect
now. I mean,
resource.
that's,
It is.
yes.
It is. We're very lucky to have such a good one. We have a wonderful one, and a lot of people move into town to be nearer to their families. So they've uprooted themselves from some place where they were very comfortable.
That could be true
It's
too.
a great place for them to come to the center and meet with contemporary people of their own age.
And the Connotation Senior Center has that. And I don't think we look old and decrepit, so we're very active in the senior
Not
center.
by any stretch of the imagination.
But people always have that tendency, senior center.
I know, some
But
people are afraid of
it's
that term,
It's a
apparently.
diverse group. I mean, there are
Oh.
people there that are 90 that would make a person 50 years old look on the same par.
Right.
Yeah,
And the thing that amazed me too, talk about broadening your horizons, the stories some of these people have at the senior center when you talk to them are unbelievable. One gentleman, we used to kid around about desserts and tapioca and all this. He was very knowledgeable, and he had all these little, like, do you know tapioca is a poisonous pudding until they take this out before you can eat it, and things like that. And I said, what did you do for a living, prior to retiring? He says, well, I was an engineer, and he says, believe it or not, I worked on the Manhattan Project. Right there in Hopkinton.
Yes,
It was just, you remember, I forgot his name, passed away. But everybody
Very
has a
interesting.
unique story.
Yes.
You had brought up before we were discussing about Ralph Edwards, 80 years old.
Jumping out of an
Jumping out.
airplane.
Decided he wanted to do
With a
something
parachute,
new.
not by
Exactly, with a parachute.
Yeah, you wanted to
but
try it.
still, But
Yeah.
still.
That's one of my goals, to skydive.
Do you want to do some skydiving? Absolutely, yeah. And we were talking about Davison Welsh before the show too, and his painting. That he's still painting, and
And he still paints so well, even
Yeah.
though he says he can't write.
Yeah.
He made a great point of telling us that. He can't write notes from Florida.
Yeah.
But he can still paint.
and there's
so-
a wonderful example too. I mean, at 91 years old, he's going and visiting other people
Yes,
who are
Right.
exactly.
senior, centers or what, or in nursing
a lot
homes.
of it,
And
taking good care of yourself is so key because it keeps you very mentally alert too. It helps that way anyway. And it's a disservice not to take care of yourself because there still is a lot of good years are still ahead, and there's so much to do. I'm sure I can just I want to be completely used up, completely when I'm ready.
You want to check
Good
off
way to
all your
put it.
bucket
Yeah,
list.
you're gonna-
I've done those
That's
things.
right.
I've
Yeah.
tried some new things, and
You don't have to do skydiving, everybody,
No,
but
no.
there's other things, you know.
You know, with
So-
the at our age, trying something and failing at it is no big
It's
deal.
no big deal
You're
at
not
all.
going to lose your job. You're not going to be ashamed. Nobody's going to say, I told you you shouldn't
Right.
have tried that. It's go on to something
Something else. You know, someone may say to you, oh, try such and such, you'll love it. You may try it and say, what are they talking about? No big deal. Okay, that's not for you, but try something else. Yeah.
At the gym, they told me to try a yoga class. Everybody raves about yoga. Now, I know there are different types of yoga. So I went
Sure.
into this one class, did it, came out and said, not for me.
Yeah, yeah, but you
that's
tried
fine.
it. That's the
That's right.
important thing.
Sure.
Yes.
That's right.
And then you know, you won't always say, I should have tried.
Exactly.
You say,
Now,
I
the
did
next
it, and
thing
it's
they
not for
told me to do is try Pilates. They said, if you don't like yoga, try Pilates. That's another thing. At the Y, there are so many different programs you can get involved in, and 98% of them are free.
That was the point I
Yes.
wanted to make sure we
Yeah.
made, that there are so many programs that are free, because sometimes as seniors, we have less money available to
Exactly.
us, but there are a lot of free programs.
And I mentioned the silver sneakers.
The silver sneakers, yeah.
Many health insurance companies will pay the fee. So you would go to the Y absolutely free.
Yep. And if you're still able to walk, you know, join a book club, but join, you know, you might find people like a walking club. I was
Yes.
thinking like the
Exactly.
Trails
Groups
Club or
that-
something.
yes.
Get out and walk, even if it's
Neighborhood
just in your
walking
neighborhood.
groups.
Or
They
you
have
know.
trips too from the Y too,
Yes.
various
Yes.
different trips.
Yeah. I wanted to just ask, does faith play a role in any of this for you in terms of staying positive and enjoying life?
Oh,
In
I
any
think
way?
so. With me,
I
it
think
does.
so. Yeah, I think so. And I think with me, I just feel that, yes, I have been very lucky to have a good life. And I think it's totally expected of me that I'll do something with it and make use of being fortunate and having a good life. So do things with it.
Exactly, because I believe we were put here and we were put here for a purpose. And if we don't do what we can do, we've wasted
Yes, and
that
it should
part.
never be wasted.
Exactly.
Life should never be wasted. No.
This is wonderful. I mean, you've hit on so many important points: socializing, staying in contact with people, learning new things.
Learning new things is one of the most
It's very-
important
it's very
things.
key,
That's what
yeah.
really would keep you going.
And you know, I have always, I think I've always liked people. I think I've always been reasonably friendly and liked people. But you know, sometimes you'll even be introduced to someone and not terribly impressed with them or whatever. You get to know them and you think, you didn't know them really just being introduced. You didn't know them. You get to know them and you think, wow, they are really interesting and I like them. So, you know, even that sort of thing can change. Give it a chance. You know, try meeting new people and doing new things.
Well, I'm very outgoing and being a New Yorker and everything, we're not as bad as people think. But I had difficulty adjusting to the reticence and they call it the New England syndrome. I don't want to be insulting,
I think I know what you're referring to. Yes,
But I mean,
I'm from the Midwest. I experienced a little bit of that when I
Yes,
moved here.
exactly.
But I know. Go ahead. You have an important point about this. I know you do.
I always give the point when I'm at the gym. I've been going to the gym now going on 8 years. I'll see the same people every day, and they're all wonderful people. But if I say hello to them, boy, they start talking unbelievably. But if I, for some reason, don't say hello, they won't say hello to me or start talking till I say hello to them. And I still can't figure it out.
I'm not like that, so.
I know, no. That's what made me think about it.
You know, a little story. This woman came into the senior center one time when I was at the desk, the reception desk, and she was new to the housing area, and she had a newspaper with her, and she was going to lunch. She came out after lunch, and she stopped at the desk, and she just said, "I didn't read my newspaper." She said, "Everyone is so friendly." And I just thought that's terrific. I just love to hear things like that. You know, she figured she didn't know anyone, so she'd read the paper. No way.
Yeah. As I get older, I'm less likely to judge people on the first impression.
I think so.
You know, I
Absolutely.
think that you become aware that, hey, you got to get to know people sometimes a little bit.
Definitely.
You
Yep.
know, peel back a little bit before you judge them, and yeah.
Some people are not they're not forthcoming in talking about themselves. So you have to kind of pull it out of them, and you find fascinating jobs that they've done or lives that they lived. And
I always equate it to an onion with many, many skins you have to peel off
yes,
till you get to the core.
that's a good way to look at it. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, some are just the surface and some go deep. So,
Would it surprise you to know that our time is almost up? It went. I know. When we were talking in the beginning, it was like, how much are we going
to
Exactly.
talk about it? And each one that you say something, it reminds you of something
Yeah.
else.
But
There are endless things to talk about. There really are.
Yeah, well, you were the perfect guest for this show, but I'm going to have to bring it to a
Thank you.
close. So I do want
Life
to.
is good.
Thank you. There you have it, some of the best advice I've heard on how to stay active, involved, and enjoying life. With a positive attitude and determination, regardless of your age or condition, you can be involved with family, friends, and community to live every day in a fulfilling and rewarding way. Start by getting help if you need it, giving back in some way, and being active, mentally and physically, to the best of your ability. I hope you enjoyed our show. Thank you to HCAM and the volunteers who made it possible. I'm Mary Arnott, signing out with attitude, and see you next time.
I'm Dr. Pamela Weinfeld.
I'm Dr. Louis Kushner.
Our skin is the largest organ in our body and serves many functions, including protection, shock absorption, and temperature control. It's also subject to many disorders and diseases.
Today, about 1 in 3 people suffer from skin ailments resulting in pain, disfigurement, or disability.
The most serious of these conditions is melanoma, a potentially deadly skin cancer that affects some 115,000 people each year. Its incidence continues to rise, but the good news is that if detected early, melanoma is highly curable.
Recognizing changes in your skin is the best way to detect melanoma, so examine your skin regularly. If you notice changes in a mole or other unusual conditions, contact your primary care provider.
Avoiding excessive exposure to the ultraviolet rays of the sun is the most important step you can take to prevent skin cancer. Using sunscreen, wearing protective clothing, and avoiding tanning beds are important preventive measures.
For more information on skin cancer and skin disease, visit skincarephysicians.com.